Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any materials produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present Girls vs. Ghosts, The Realm Walker with Kelly McCarville, live, only on Spreaker. And as always, join us in our live interactive chat by going to Spreaker.com or downloading the Spreaker app for your devices. Kelly is a respected paranormal investigator and also a very gifted medium and brings a unique perspective into the paranormal field. Be sure to follow Kelly on all her social media at Facebook, Kelly McCarville Moonspinner, Instagram and Twitter at Moonspinner76, and on the web at mysticalmoonspinner.com. Here's your host, Kelly McCarville.
Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday night. I hope you guys are having a good February. And I want to thank you all for joining in tonight. I'm still posting, so I haven't even looked at chat yet. All right. We're going to go ahead and get right into this. I'm going to forewarn you guys, I have not been feeling the best today. So we're going to try to squeak this out to an hour because I'm super excited about my guest that's on tonight, but wanted to forewarn you guys if you hear me sniffling, I apologize for that. My guest tonight is Rob Thompson of the Ghost Finders, and I am super, super excited to learn more about him, so we'll get right into this. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Hey, Kelly, how's it going? Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on.
Well, I'm doing well. So, I know a little bit about you, but I want to make sure to give everybody else a chance to learn you and get to know more about you myself. So, why don't you start out by telling us just a little bit, what is Ghost Finders?
So the Ghost Finders is a paranormal reality show, and we've been doing. We started out in 2010, so we're actually we just started in December. We just started filming our 10th anniversary season with Nick Groff and in California. And this is going to be different in many, many ways. We're switching everything up for season 10. Is myself and Megan Deputy, who is a pagan witch, and the inimitable, of course, Dan Klass, our investigator. And honestly, those two guys are incredible. I mean, the combination of the three of us is just really something extraordinary. And Dan brings a huge amount of experience.
Dan's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
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 But
Dan is very.
Yeah, I moved here from the UK and about 23 years ago, and so I've been investigating the paranormal for probably 26 years, really all over the world, from Egypt to India to Indonesia to you name it.
I would love to go to Egypt sometime. That would be a cool spot.
Oh yeah, you talk about history, and a couple hundred years is one thing.
It's
3,000 years. It's just
it's hard
really
to even
palpable.
wrap your mind around. It
really is. Yeah.
Just to think that people, and it is, because you'll walk around places here, even down like in New Orleans or out the East Coast, and it's like, oh, people have been here for hundreds of years, but you go places like that, it's like, thousands and thousands of years. It's just craziness.
Thousands and thousands of years. Only way you can really sort of come close to even, imagining that is, anything after 9 a.m. calling the IRS about your tax refund, and, you're talking about nearly 3,000 years there. But I mean,
right.
It really is. And that's one of the things that we're going to do. We're going to be providing so we're reverse engineering the paranormal space and sort of taking out some of the more tongue-in-cheek stuff that some people find, not as appealing. And really what we're trying to do is appeal to a younger audience as well. So it's going to be fully immersive, interactive experience. And like I said, producing is Nick Groff. So we're thrilled to be, working with Nick and Elizabeth Saint and Justin Navarro, Vidi Space, and we've got actually our 8 of our 10 episodes from season 9 on Vidi Space. We actually kind of reset the clock, and we're calling this season 1 because it's really only now. It's really sort of like from season 9 onwards that it's sort of like fully what I think I always wanted the Ghost Finders to be.
So previous to this season, where were the episodes being seen, and can people still see them? Can they go out and find them still?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. As long as they don't, pass judgment. But seasons, I believe season 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't think 8. I think there's like 5 seasons on Paranormal Reality TV. I haven't checked in on that lately, but I know that they had or have 5 seasons up of the show, and there's still a few on YouTube. But of course, we don't want to be sort of everywhere. We want people to drive traffic, to Amazon Prime. We're on Amazon Prime and Apple TV, and of course, Vidi Space.
And then the Vidi for the new season,
Yeah, and Vidi Space is just amazing. I mean, it really is. Nick Groff has been, he's a pioneer, and he's sort of said, well, the networks aren't the be-all and end-all of the paranormal space. Much contrary to popular belief, they really are not. And what he's done is the 3 of them have just created this incredible this platform for indie content, unscripted content of the paranormal genre, and it's just taken off like crazy. Last weekend they had the film festival, of course.
Yeah, and it has. Vidi has grown so much. I was kind of involved in it right when it was starting its kickoff. And, it had a couple channels, and now there's a million channels and so many shows. So just amazing what they've done with all of that. And like you said, you couldn't have better people to work with. Nick and Elizabeth and Justin, they all have just amazing work ethic and a lot of respect from people in the field too, which I think is super important.
Absolutely. It's all about respect. And, I sometimes... I see sort of the bickering that goes on, and I sort of try and steer clear of it because, I'm not there to be the paranormal police, and say it's our way or the highway. The whole thing that makes, for me, and to each their own, but for me, makes this field, if you want to call it, so appealing and so exciting is that it's literally thrives on conjecture and on, there's no definitive, well, spirits don't do this and don't say that, and they only wear green buttons on their shirt. It's silly. It's getting silly, So,
but it is. If you don't fit the mold, and it is. Well, it's a wonderful, wonderful industry, and yet it's a weird one.
Yeah, and I love that because I do weird really well, just very naturally. So this is something. 2 of my passions in my life, outside my kids and family, are the paranormal and filmmaking, and they always have. And so this really was an organic way to sort of cross the two.
Sure.
And,
yeah, absolutely.
Just made a lot of sense.
So how did you get into the paranormal? What kind of drove you to that direction?
Oh, I got the shit scared out of me when I was about 11 years old. So it was a bit of a sort of a Downton Abbey situation, except we weren't the upper crust. My mother was a housekeeper in a 17th century mansion in rural England, and we were, and so I was raised single parent. My mum was the housekeeper, and we had a little flat in the servants' quarters, and she was just working, to make ends meet, pretty much all the time. So I would spend extended periods of time in this house or in the flat alone, and I just started seeing things that just were not jiving with with what I considered normal at the time.
Right. Right.
And one of those events was really profound. Without going into too much detail, I saw a book levitate across my bedroom. I was about 11 years old, and that sort of really it scared the bejesus out of me. But it also ignited a fuse that really blew up my interest and my just unquenchable thirst for answers. What is this made of? How does it lift things? How does this happen? How does And it was a fury, a fire that just grown and grown and grown throughout my life.
So was that? I know that you're also a psychic medium. So was that kind of when all of that started for you as well, or did you know prior to that you had some abilities?
I honestly, like a lot of mediums, and I think that can probably relate to this. And I prefer the term spirit medium, but to each their own. I think honestly, and at that age, I really just, I think I just assumed I was completely bonkers.
I remember those days.
Yeah, and I still do, but And that's great, because I don't know how I would have gotten through my life without being completely bonkers. And Alice said some of the best people are. So but yeah, I think that it was really as a teen I started to realize that there was more to this than that, and that there was it wasn't an everyday thing to start wondering about someone. About their bike wheel falling off, and then them going home and falling off their bike and a wheel coming off. Like silly things.
Precognitive, yeah.
The precognitive came in, and then and that just sort of escalated. And then I said, it's something you can't ignore. And but yeah, I really sort of suppressed it and didn't develop those abilities and really truly come to terms with them until much, much, much later. In fact, for the first 5-6 years of the show, I always had a spirit medium, on cast. I just did not feel, self-assured enough to quote unquote come out, as a medium. And and then about 2 or 3 years ago, a good friend of mine who just passed actually at the beginning of the year. Right before his 70th birthday, one of the kindest, most sorry, I'm trying not to get choked up. One of the kindest people that I've ever known, and one of the most extraordinary mediums that I've ever known. Derek Akora from Derek Akora's Ghost Towns, and of course most people know from Most Haunted, the first 5-6 seasons. We talked a lot, the last couple of years, back and forth. And he said to me, Rob, you were given this gift for a reason. It's not given to you, sort of like, well, shall I, shan't I? You're given this because you're going to use that gift to help a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And so do it. Just, put your big boy pants on and get out there and just explain, why you haven't come out as a medium, until the last couple of years. And And so I did. And, you know.
It's a scary step, though. I mean, I get exactly where you're coming from. It is, because it's not only just a matter of, you know, am I really crazy, or is there something to this? Now, is everybody else going to think I'm crazy? And you always have that little bit of, you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to be wrong. You don't. This is a big deal, especially when you've been approached like you were. And it's. I'm loving listening to your story, because there's so many things you're saying that are similar to how my path went. You know, but when we're approached like we were to say, this is what you are supposed to be doing, that's a lot of pressure to then come out and say, okay, now I'm going to do this for people, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, and Derek and I were you know, in actual fact, in talking about doing a show. We were approached by Original Productions, and you know, so it's obviously his energies were needed upstairs. You know, very sad, but you know, everything for a reason, and I very much feel that he is my spirit guide now.
I can't imagine he's not still watching over us. So.
Yeah, and I mean, what a sense of humor he had. I mean, good Lord, you know. And I think one of the things that was hardest to come to terms with is that for the most part, for me anyway, this far along the road, you know, a short way along the road as a medium, that one of the hardest things for me to come to terms with is being a trance medium. And just channeling, literally having someone jump into you. Very invasive and
yes,
kind of not something that I honestly that I truly relish. I'll be perfectly honest with you. You know, it's something I'm really trying to you know take the advice. I have people on crew that you know help me as far as protection, and Megan will you know do protection ceremony and various other things that I'll do. You know, I'm covered from head to toe with bloody black tourmaline and rose quartz and you name it. You know, I mean, if they could make a bathtub out of black tourmaline, I'd grab it. I think they have actually. It's just like $500,000, but
pocket change.
Yeah. So yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's something I enjoy. It's something that I just honestly I don't care. For me, it's not the game show. I don't, you know, it's not the important thing whether I'm right or wrong about something. You know, it's just not. No, sorry, that wasn't the right answer. Right. I interpret what I'm shown and what I hear in the best way I possibly can. And, you know, and like any medium, sometimes that's off and sometimes it's right on the money. Yeah. And so I think if people understand that, you know, they'll understand better, you know, because there are so many of these quote unquote scripted shows with the mediums, you know, where of course.
Yeah. And I always tell people, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've told people, if you ever run into someone, a psychic, a medium, or even a paranormal investigator who says, I can prove this, I'm never wrong, just turn around and run away, because that's terrifying, you know, because it is, like you said, it's interpretation. And that's what I meant by right or wrong, is I want to make sure that I'm trying to interpret things the correct way. And, you know, I'm crippled by the fact that I'm a Virgo. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
Well, there's a lot of there's a lot of good qualities in Virgos. You know, I'm basically screwed. You know, I'm a Scorpio, and a Scorpio through and through. Bloody hell! I mean, don't I know it? You know, I was just like, Mum, couldn't I just hang on for another week, and I'd be fine. So, but it really is. I think honestly, I'm gonna answer a question that you haven't asked, sure. If I may, and that is, what makes you feel that you get the results you do, you know, as a team? Well, I'm going to answer my own question, and truly,
I love this. I'm just going to sit back.
You're fantastic. And she's just going to sit back and spin the moon. But yeah, honestly, respect, intent, intention, spirituality. If you are involved in contact with the spirit realm, with the spirit dimension, then obviously you should understand and play ball with the level of respect, the positivity, the higher vibration, and all of those things are very important. And not just for a couple of you, every last person who's going into that location, should be, if you've got a couple people, just maybe one person that's just screwing around or breaking wind. Oh, what was that? It was an EVP. Yeah. It just it's just disrespectful, and it says, well, I'm not here to take anything serious. I'm just here to screw around on camera, and then we'll all go home. So our secret weapon is Megan Deputy, because she is like a catalyst. When we arrive, you've got to understand, a lot of these places have had thousands and thousands of people coming through with the K2 detectors, and they're tossing rocks, and they're, breaking wind, and they're laughing. I like to think that most groups, and in my experience, for the most part, most paranormal teams are very professional and conduct themselves with the utmost, self-respect, and have respect for where they are and the spirits that they're around. Mm-hmm. But there's, always a minority that ruin it. And I think that us arriving and Megan doing a ritual, gift-giving ritual, and announcing our intention really helps clear the air, so that they're not, here's another one, here's another bunch of, what have we got now? Let's disappear until they're gone. So yeah, I mean, it's every part, every aspect of that. I think that we want to just give as much as we take, and we don't expect ghost to spirit, ghost, spirit, tulpa, whatever you want to call spirit. It's not just about
interaction for a reason.
And give and take. So
exactly,
whatever we can do to help them.
Absolutely.
As well. So it's a two-way street.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I want to get to a couple questions from chat and just kind of throw some at you here. So I know you said you've investigated all over the world, kind of. What would you say, and this is always a tough question when you've been to a lot, what would you say is your favorite location so far?
Wow.
It's so tough, I know.
It's a really tough one. Wow. I can tell you, see, now they're all coming up and they're sort of in line. Me. Honestly, I think it's really tough for me to answer that completely specifically. I can tell you what a couple of my absolute favorite places were.
Okay.
And I think if definitely in the top 5, I would say has to be Penhurst State School.
Penhurst, yes.
The first time I think, and a lot of people probably can relate to this. Sort of like the first time you're there, it's just like, wow, hooked. Gotta have more. Gotta have me some Penhurst. So the first time we were there, I mean, it was absolutely crazy. I think it was like season 4 or 5, and it was. Have you seen the episode? I mean, I think they're still on. It's on YouTube. Again, this is just like sort of 8 years ago, and it was just, we got so many things. I'll give you one example. This is a big spoiler. We at one point were doing a Q&A session. We were using the usual equipment, thermal imaging cameras, which were on loan to us from FLIR, who sponsored our show for several seasons. And
an amazing company.
Great stuff. And we were focused on this doorway in this corridor on the ground floor, and Heather said, beautiful little girl, if you're there, can you show yourself? And then this figure appeared, and she says, "You're a beautiful little girl. Please talk to us." And she turns this thing. This spirit turns its head. You see this childlike figure in what looks like a nightgown. Mm-hmm. And the head suddenly, when she says that, turns to face and you see the face. Right. OMG. It gives me shivers just saying that.
Yeah.
That was, for me, right there and then, I motioned my camera guy over and I said, "Look, listen, I want you to get in picture the regular night vision and the thermal next to each other, right next to each other, with the displays showing. And the one on the left, the regular night vision, right, the regular infrared, nothing in the corridor. The thermal, little girl."
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you. I'd like to pat myself on the head, but I haven't seen that. I'm sure it's out there, but I've not seen that that caliber of stuff.
Right.
Where side by side.
It's a rare catch, definitely.
Well, I love that because obviously there'll always be skeptics. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do.
Oh yeah.
And that's fine and that's healthy. But yeah, that for me was just one of many, many, many things that happened that night on our Penhurst investigation back in season 5, I think it was. But more recently, there's just not something I even have to think about. The Hinsdale house.
Oh, God, yes. Yes.
I mean, not going to be saucy or anything like that because I know this is a family show, but size does not matter. When it comes,
this is so far from a family show, by the way.
Oh, well, I was just that was me fishing. I was waiting for that. I was
no.
But yeah, no, it was just as you pull up to the place. I got to tell you, I grew up near about 30, 40 miles from Stonehenge, and it's one of those things when where is it, and then you turn a corner of the highway, and then boom,
there
it is. Yeah. And it's like speaks to you, and boom.
Well, yeah, from the time you pull off the road, I mean, you're instantly bombarded by the spirits and the different energies. Oh God, yeah.
Boom, there it is. God, did you hear that? Boom, and as a medium, there it is, right in your gut, right in your face. Boom, come on inside. Who are you? What are all these questions? And I was honestly just really overwhelmed. It never let up. It just went on and on and on and on. And if you watch our Hinsdale House episode, which is on VidiSpace and on Amazon Prime and Apple TV and Android TV and blah 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 blah. You'll see what I mean. I mean, I won't tell you any more, just not, to spoil it completely. But it was absolutely insane. We had to actually cut some good stuff out just to make it
right
into, that 45 or 50-minute slot. So yeah, I mean, those are two that spring to mind, definitely.
Yeah, Hinsdale's an amazing location.
Oh, totally. What Dan's done with the place is just. If you look at it before, I mean, it was just looked like it was going to fall down any second, And
he was a crazy man buying that, but you know what? It was good. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. So
yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine his wife's reaction. Honey, guess what I'm doing?
Yeah, he's lucky because his wife is fantastic.
She's awesome. She's very nice. He's got a great family.
Yeah.
So with all the locations that you've been to, I know I just asked your most favorite location, but what country do you feel is the most haunted or has the most activity?
See, I don't know if that's kind of a very broad question. I think
it is. It's one from chat. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who has asked that?
It's Darren. Darren is our question asker. He is amazing.
Darren, all right, mate. Thanks. That's a good. That's a big question. So really, I think it's hard to make comparisons other than, I mean, for example, when I'm in France, or when I'm in Europe, when I'm in UK, Ireland, wherever in Europe, our sort of definition there of historic locations is, a building that might be not 100 or 200 years old, but 900, 1100 years old, and so you just have, it's staggering how many layers, like a gigantic onion, there are, and how many spirits. I think that's a fair thing to say. I don't know if it makes a place more haunted or less haunted, but it certainly provides a bigger variety of attachments, of residual energy, of interactive. Interactive energy with spirit there. Residually makes sense because, you've got dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of families and people and friends, passing through a place, especially if it's an inn,
right.
or a hotel or something like that. Then you're talking like hundreds of thousands, if not more. So, Europe is, I find it tough to go to any place in Europe that, is a historic place and come out empty-handed.
Right.
Like ever.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm not saying that because I'm from Europe. That's
just
there.
The history.
The best
the amount of history, how could it not be? So. Yeah.
And that's why I'm particularly fascinated when it comes to North America by the the Native Americans and their history and their the way that their spirit still watches over the land that they occupied that was taken from them. I'm not going to get into a rant about that, but yeah, atrocities happened, and I think that for me, it's always one of the things that is most that is high up on my list when I know that that we're investigating a place that's in or near a Native American settlement or burial ground or what have you. That I'm not surprised when that stuff comes through, and that stuff you don't get in Europe. So it's sort of tit for tat, really.
Right. Exactly.
So I hope that answers your question, Dan.
Excellent. I'm going to keep going with some questions from chat here. So actually, I'm going to ask one from chat, and I'm going to add on to it. How are your locations selected for your shows, and can you give us any hints on upcoming locations?
Oh, okay. So, you know what? It's funny because for sort of really the first 6 seasons of the Ghost Finders, we or Ghost Finders as it was called then, we added a the, so we were singular. But it really is something that happens. The universe kind of decides, and will put in front of me, or in front of Heather, or in front of Dad. With Dan, it's a case of there's really only probably 3 places left in the United States that he doesn't know of.
Right.
Or that don't know Dan. So, before Dan, I think it was more a case of stuff, we would do research of our own and see what sort of waved to us and sort of say, hello, come and what sort of called out to us. There's a few that we do get places emailing us and
oh, of course,
and saying, can you come and honestly, in my experience, not to try and be, some kind of wise guy, because this is, we're all learning daily, but I think that, there are a lot of cases particularly with residential cases, not all of them, but some of them, where there are extenuating factors involved, where, for example, a couple who have an old house where the foundations aren't exactly, great, and a lot of noises, contraction, expansion, especially beginning or end of winter. And once two people back and forth enough with each other that they've got, spirit activity, then the spirit activity, it only takes the wrong person to come and quote unquote help them out. And then before you know it, they're looking for a full-blown exorcism, and it's the devil's, lair, and so
because there are demons around every corner, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they're everywhere, and but I won't get into politics, but yeah. So I mean, I think that there are certain shows, and I'm not going to name names, but there's certain shows that sort of drum that up to an all-time high. Literally everything that's not saying, hello, can I buy you a drink, mate?
Multiple possessions a show.
Is a demon. Yeah. Well, it made me jump, scared me. Must be a demon. So give me a break. Come on. But they're ratings driven. They're ratings driven. And those ratings have to grow and grow and grow for them to get another season. So it's what I call a ghost in post-production, is something that you'll see. And that doesn't exactly help credibility of the field. But for those of us, that know the field and have had our own experiences, we don't have to worry about that. And people watch stuff for different reasons. People watch stuff to call it out. Some people watch ghost shows just because they want, their missus to squeeze their leg, and have a couple pints and, watch some scary stuff. Yeah, right. Really, and nothing more. We're sort of, humans are thrill seekers.
Oh yeah.
I'll get on a ride at Knoebels, where I did 5 years ago, and I won't now, because now I'm an old fart. But it's all about the adrenaline junkies. I think that I can't think of a single exception. Basically, paranormal investigation is thrilling, and it's exciting. It's a serious thing, and it is just a fascinating, extraordinary world. But I think most of us would definitely carry a stamp on our forehead as an adrenaline junkie. I don't think you get into this unless you can take a good scare,
Which is really funny when you stop and think about the hours and hours and hours that we spend sitting in a dark room all by ourselves with nothing going on. I know. but that 5 seconds that something happened, oh my God, it's worth everything. So.
It really, I was talking to an ornithologist, a bird watcher, and we sort of made a very fair comparison. Sometimes he said, I'll sit here for through the binos for a day looking for what I'm, for like up in my tree. And I said to him, well, sometimes I'll sit a whole evening staring at monitors, and I'll feel like I'm out of my tree, So it's really a question of patience. There's just no shortcut. If you don't have respect in you and the ability to take this seriously, well, then why are you in there? Number one, to begin with. Number two, patience it's a lot of waiting, and it's a lot of false positives, and it's a lot of conjecture. At the end of the day, your lead investigator for your team, whoever they are, or the investigators, will make the call, for the team, having discussed it with the team, and going through the debunking process.
Oh, of course.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
And so I think that that's why it appeals to everyone. Look, it's not just the spirit realm. It's not just ghosts. It's everything. It's all the above. It's everything from AI. It's from where science and the paranormal intersect. It's it's aliens. It's cryptids. It's all of the above. And that's what exploration is. It's just literally getting out there and doing it and just being it. it all fascinates me. It all fascinates me. So, but yeah, so some hints, some hints for the episode that we started filming, season 10, which is with Nick Groff and producing, and that was the Winchester Mystery House. So I'm going to tell you that's one location in San Jose, and then we did that. We were there for 3 days and filming a location, and then we went south to LA, Laguna Beach, did an episode there, and that's really all I'm going to tell you at this point. But we're doing a bit of we're going down deep south to do quite a few episodes and staying in one particular state. And all I can tell you is it's just it's really something that is going to be, I think, for the first time, certainly that I've ever seen or heard of, a truly cinematic and all immersive experience. So you'll see what I mean when it comes out. But yeah, I mean, I don't have any info on that, but I would imagine towards the end of this year, around Halloween.
Sure. All right. I'm going to keep going through some of the questions from chat. Now, you said you were from the UK, but you moved here a while ago. So do you now reside in the US?
Yeah, I've lived here for 23 years.
That's what I thought you said, but I am listening to everything and I forget.
Come on, Kelly, pay attention, love. Crying out loud.
It's not a lack of paying attention. It's this memory issue. It's I'm lucky some days if I remember what my name is. So
you're a sweetheart. I've got to tell you, I love your necklace, by the way. What is that? It's absolutely gorgeous.
I think it's opal tourmaline, and can't remember. I think that might be smoky quartz.
Oh gosh, I love opals. Opals, fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just all my favorite colors: black, white, and gray. That's pretty much what I wear, like, ever. So.
Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So you've talked about kind of what your role is and what Megan's role is. So Dan, the shenanigan man. What kind of does he do on the investigations when you guys are out?
So I'm going to write that down right now, and I'm going to totally borrow that.
Dan, the shenanigan man. Yeah, he's craziness.
It's Dan is one of the most objective, thorough, and approachable paranormal investigators and experienced paranormal investigators I've ever worked with. And that's why we have him, as an integral, central part of our, trifecta.
He's a good guy. And what I've noticed with investigating with Dan is he is one of those, like you were saying, that kind of draws the spirits into him. They just seem to like him. So
yeah, spirit picks it up. Spirit picks it up. If you're an approachable person, then that's exactly, then you're approachable by everyone, everything, and honestly, pets and children have a big affinity, that same sort of affinity, that sensitivity, and will come right up to him, will like, dogs are always coming up to him and sniffing him, or, in places that, weird places like hotel lobbies. You wondered what I was going to say then, didn't you? But, But yeah, he's also, I don't know if you knew this, but he's also an actual expert on the electric, those electric scooter things that hotels, like in San Jose, right?
Like
it's the whole city.
Oh my gosh, I can't think what they're called.
I know.
The little things you stand on.
You swipe your credit card and you've got it for like 10 minutes and you just leave it like on the side of the. It's
that
crazy. San Jose.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Oh yeah, Silicon Valley. So I mean,
he's a great big kid. So that does not surprise me.
Big kid, and that's what I love about it, because I'm the same way. And Megan, how she puts up with us, I have no idea. But it works. It works, and I'm very lucky to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mama Pat. They're called segways.
Segways. Oh well, so this isn't this is like a Segway, but with like in scooter form.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just like it's $5 for 10 minutes, and you get on it, but they're fantastic, and they're all over. I know they have them in LA. They didn't. They have them in San Jose. I've never seen. I haven't seen them in New York City. Well, they probably get nicked if they were
potentially, yeah. Crazy drivers, yeah. The Safeway is what I was thinking of. I just couldn't think of what they were called. So
Safeway.
I knew I can always count on my Mama Pat. So.
And so with the three of us, our energies sort of collectively, all encompassingly, make for hopefully a very approachable feel and vibe when we're investigating. We don't feel like that. The spirits are being intimidated. There's none of this.
Sure.
Show yourself now.
No.
No,
not at all.
And
not at all.
It's all about respect.
So, some equipment questions for you. First off, what is your favorite equipment to use when you're out on an investigation?
Okay, I was wondering when you were going to ask me about my equipment. So here's an interesting thing. All right, just yesterday, someone asked me, "What's the best equipment I can buy to become a paranormal investigator? And what's the best thing that I can have?" And he was about 9 years old, bless him. Bless his button socks, and he.
Did you just say bless his bun socks?
His cotton socks. It's a British saying. Bless your cotton socks.
That's adorable. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Anyway, so what I said was, honestly, the best thing you can have to effectively investigate is an open mind, and trust anything. And he just looked at me. And then you could see it processing, and then a big grin came on his face. He said, "So I just turn off the light." I said, "That's exactly right. Turn off the light, sit on your sofa, and talk to someone that you can't see."
Yeah.
And maybe you'll get an answer.
Yeah. I always encourage people, go in with very little equipment first. Maybe carry a recorder with you, but go in and do a walkthrough by yourself and just get a feel first.
Get a feel for the base. The baseline.
I think sometimes people get so distracted by the equipment that they forget to pay attention to what they're experiencing. And then you miss so much, especially if you don't have someone like yourself or Megan or even Dan. Dan picks stuff up too, When you're out on the investigation, you've got to have those people who are going to be paying attention to that part of stuff too. And yeah, I always tell people your best piece of equipment is yourself. So.
And by that I also mean not that equipment isn't important, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that you can have $10,000 worth of equipment, but if you go marching into a place with expectations and all kinds of notions and ideas and preconceived expectations, and sort of like in a bull in a china shop, you're going to probably get less, in my experience, than you are just having a K2, an old-fashioned flashlight, and dowsing rods or maybe a paranormal music box. That is what has become one of my absolute favorites, and it just because of the simplicity of it. The paranormal music box, and we get ours from Ghost Augustine, which is ghosthuntersequipment.com. And they, as far as I know, are the only, they're the North American, they exclusively have the North American contract for that. But it's made in Sweden. It's built like a brick Kazi. And it really is a fantastic piece of equipment. And I'll tell you why it's my favorite. And that is because false positives it's tough to get a false positive. Right? You have to physically break that beam. Okay.
Right.
It's not like a K2 where a walkie or a cell phone or a passing taxi radio or God knows what else is going to set it off. So because of that, it makes it a very, very effective and convincing piece of equipment. So, yeah, that's my favorite right now.
They're pretty fun.
They are
definitely fun.
They are, really are. And they're durable. I mean, ours has been through 2 years of hell and back, and I mean, you threw that at someone, you'd kill them. You know what I mean? It's like a brick. Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, and they are fantastic, and I'm just going to give them a little plug because they are our season sponsors as well. GhostHuntersEquipment.com, and yeah, they've got everything you can possibly think of, A to B to Z and back.
Wonderful. So without the going out and investigating, I mean, I know that we say, take it serious and everything, but you have a good time when we're out on investigations. And it's even with the best laid plans, things don't always go as planned. So what would you say would be some of your funniest experiences that you've ever had on an investigation?
It's funny you said that, because we were just planning, we're putting together a blooper reel from sort of 9 seasons.
Fun.
I'll tell you one of, I know that Heather will laugh at this, okay, because this is definitely her. Like we were at a place in Glen Spey, New York, and I literally flew like Superman down the stairs. We had cameras set up, and you could see Rob, trot, 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 first flight of stairs, and then you see Rob in a Superman, sort of like really the hands first thing, go flying past, and I landed on the bottom set of stairs. So that was kind of embarrassing. Oh. At the Betsy Ross house, we had a take that was interesting because the staircase is very, very, very windy and narrow, just like the other houses of that era. And I was getting the tour, and we, on camera, and talking to the curator, and I fell down the stairs there. So Stairs and I've got these great big size. Yeah, I've got like these size 13, 14 triple E feet. So it's a bloody clown, So that happened. I think the blooper wise, I don't know, because we really try not to. We really try and keep it organic and as organically flowing as possible. I think that one of the things that we really do is have a good time and are lighthearted, without being, acting silly.
Right.
But within us, because we know each other, because for 6 months every year for the last few years, we practically live together at the weekends, and so we know each other inside and out, and so you don't even have to say something; it's written on your face, and Dan'll like crack me up. He'll look at me, and he'll not shake his head. Don't, and I'll just like lose it,
And he does that one little eyebrow raise thing, like what I'm thinking. It's like,
Yep, the left eyebrow.
Yep.
Every time. And then Megan, she'll be like, we did one scene. We were down doing Eastern State Penitentiary, and we got a little bit behind on schedule, and so we had to go and film a segment across town, one of our craft services, food sponsors, and then dart back. Okay, and we went. I made the mistake of thinking, we'll have Megan drive. So she's in her VW, her bug. It was just like, actually, it was a bug. She's had a couple of VWs, but anyway, and she drives like an old German lady, that is on some kind of mind-altering substance, and we got through the center of Philadelphia and back to Eastern State Penn in like, I don't know, it must have been like 45 seconds. It was, I was like white knuckle ride, and she laughed and everyone laughed, and I'm going to put it up. I will put it up actually, because upon reflection, that stuff is funny, and especially because it's organic. But yeah, I was definitely almost wearing Depends on particular ride. So it's just a human element, you know what I mean? And I think people want to see that.
Right.
I don't think they want to. I don't think, you know, unless it's just a different way of doing things, I guess. But you know, there's. I believe in showing it warts and all. You know, let's see. Yeah. Have people get to know us as 3-dimensional people, not here we are. You know, where it goes.
I think it helps them relate to us better if they see us fall down the steps or see us walk into things, which I am notorious for. That's my thing. I walk into things nonstop. We're just people, you know. So yeah.
And that's the thing. I think if you're more believable that you are you and that you are a genuine individual, then, you know, people will believe what you're presenting as, and I don't like to use the E word, but, you know, presenting as finding.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully you'll see a lot more of that in the new season that is already underway. And you're going to see sides of us that you've never seen before. And I mean, I've got to tell you, I cannot tell you how hard it is not to spill the beans. It's going to blow people. A lot of it will be like, oh, why the heck didn't I? That was staring in plain sight, you know, all these years. You know, why the heck didn't I think of that? And it's just a question of me, Nick Groff, and Dan, and Megan, and Heather, just and Elizabeth and Justin, just literally collectively putting our heads together and saying, okay, let's do it different. Really different.
Right. And that's, I think, that's part of what I love about Vidya is that they take that genuine, they take the different, and it's like, this is what people have been waiting to see. More of a
cinematic and cinematographic experience is what you're going to see. But
definitely.
Also, you're going to feel more like you're there.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's like you're part of it then when you're watching that.
Yeah, right.
Most definitely. All right, well, it has already been almost an hour, so I've got a few more things I want to talk to you about and ask about. But while I always do a card reading at the end of my show, I'm going to go ahead and do that. While I'm doing that, if you want to be thinking about what some of your upcoming events are, gather all your info of how everybody can find you and all that fun stuff. So, guys, while he was answering this last question, I went ahead and I was shuffling and drawing a card. Tonight I'm using the Spirit Messages Oracle deck, and the card that I drew is the Strength card. So the book says, strength comes from many sources. Staying strong brings confidence, conviction, and a balanced body, mind, and soul. Spirit has its own unique and beautiful way of replenishing your soul with strength on a continual basis. You're never really alone, as we're always with you. We have drawn this card because Spirit is reminding you that in life, your greatest weaknesses create your greatest strengths. We're aware that you may be facing new challenges or suffering from a sense of uncertainty, but even feeling vulnerable or insecure. In the past, just when you think that you've had no strength left and that you've reached a point where you cannot go on, it's your inner strength combined with our energy that has gently pulled you through. This card is confirmation that you're stronger than you believe, and now is not the time to give in. Use your inner confidence to overcome life's obstacles, and know that from each experience, a valuable lesson can be learned and stored as wisdom to be used in the future. Do not be surprised if help or assistance comes to you, and it could arrive in the most unexpected way. Remember, we're always here for you, always. Guys, I think that this is a message that is going to resonate with a lot of people. So many times there's things that we're going through in our lives that we don't feel like anybody necessarily understands what it is, or we feel like we're just being given more than we can handle. And, you know, it's funny. And guys, I've been in this situation. I've been told my entire life, Spirit's never going to give you more than you can handle. And I can't tell you how many times I've said, Spirit overestimates me. But I do. I manage every time. I pull myself through. I pull myself through with the help of other people. And there's a reason that we go through everything that we do. So just remember that, you know, we are so much stronger than sometimes we feel. And we have to just keep moving forward every day, one day at a time, and find that inner strength. When you think there's nothing left, dig a little deeper and just keep going. And it's hard. It's so very hard, but you can do it, and lean on those who are there, and don't be afraid to ask Spirit for help. I know that in my hardest times, I question Spirit, and I say, this is more than I feel like I can handle. So you're giving this to me. I need your help right now. So don't be afraid to do that and ask for that help where needed. Rob, you have anything you want to add in on that?
Well, I just want to say that's some fantastic. That's really deep. That's beautiful, and that's right on the money. You're right on point with that. As far as some of the stuff that you mean, the stuff that we've got coming up.
Yeah, I was just saying that because I know that you tap into things too, so I didn't want to not give you an opportunity to chime in if you wanted to.
I think really, for me, that quietening the mind is something that helps me a lot. Are you hearing me?
Yep. No, I thought I heard my dog, but I think it's a different dog outside.
Okay, might be mine. But in the morning, for example, when I get up in the morning, one of the things I'll do is meditate, and contemplative meditation, and the quietening of the mind makes it's just, there's no two ways about it. It's sharpening the edge of your ability, and everyone has that ability. So it's about how finely you want to tune that. But peace and quiet is a luxury for some people. Especially if you got 4 kids like me,
right?
2 of them are left home, so yeah. But yeah, quietening the mind is very underrated. Meditation, and really, what I want to say is to those of it's a very, very tough time that a lot of people are having, and I want you to understand that you have the control to manifest your life and get in the driving seat and not be a passenger. You can. It's all about, if you start your day, this is a brand new day. I can do anything with it, absolutely anything, and I will do good things, and good things will happen this day. And you truly believe that, it will happen. It will manifest. And unfortunately, the opposite is also true. A lot of people, I got to tell you, up until about 8 years ago, I just spent, there were some days I'd just wake up and, oh, great, this is going to go wrong, and so is probably going to call, and oh gosh, I bet this, and I wouldn't be surprised if. And what I didn't realize was, waking up and having those, putting that out there into the universe is just like almost like placing your spiritual dominoes order. It's just like, yeah, can I have a double side of ex-mother-in-law with screaming down the phone with a burst radiator and a couple. You are being listened to by the universe. The universe will act and react based on what you're sending out. And so, however bad things are, try and overcome those. With the help of a spirit guide and with good friends, however you need to do it. But try and start each day with, okay, well, life could be better, but life could be sure a lot worse. I have a roof over my head, and you know what? I think I'm going to do something really positive, not just in my life, but in someone else's life today.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting towards wrapping this up here. What do you have coming up? Where are people going to be able to see you, besides obviously on TV?
Okay, so I know that in the next couple weeks, we're going to be making an announcement of the cons that we're going to be attending for this year. We don't do a huge amount of them. Dan does a lot. obviously,
Yes.
because he's a lot more well known. And but one of the things that's a lot of fun that we do have coming up is I don't know. We always sort of like had this. Every one of us goes to this Halloween party. Some of them are lame, and some of them were like, oh, what did we bother for? Just we were trying to be nice, and it's like 5 people and a transistor radio and a bag of chips, and and then you can't drink, and then designated driver, and then taxi, blah blah blah. So I thought, bugger it, what about a Halloween party out on the ocean? Okay, that is basically a big piss up with some fantastic food, a sea view out of every window,
right?
And on the Caribbean, Coco Cay, October 25th, we're doing a what we're calling a Halloween Caribbean cruise. So you can join us. It's honestly, it's like $800 per person, and up. It starts at $800 per person. Now that's including all your lovely meals, your gourmet meals, your buffets, and soft drinks, and I mean as much of it every day as you want. And that includes your zip lining, which you wouldn't catch me doing for the love of money.
God, no.
And all kinds of other events, like the really physically enduring ones, like sitting by the pool, sipping a margarita. That's a workout. Let me tell you, raising that glass to your lips every day.
All right.
But we're going to do.
It is. Build those biceps.
It's going to be a week of fun in the sun, all inclusive, $800 and upward for a week in the sun. You'll really treasure it. It's myself and Megan and Dan and a bunch of us. You're going to also see some other celebrities from the paranormal realm, and just get merry and happy and just do all that lovely partying in the sun in the Caribbean. You're going to spend a day at Coco Cay and one of the biggest water features in the country, in the world, and just a lot of beach lounging and a lot of sun lounging and partying and drinking.
Sounds horrible.
With a bit of paranormal, doesn't it sound terrible? God, I'm loathing it.
Yeah.
And and obviously we're going to do some investigating, and we're going to do some, we're going to show some of the stuff that some preview stuff of the new stuff that's coming up with Nick Groff,
Sure.
And so, if you want to find out more about that, then you can just go to Facebook and you go to, let's see here, you're going to go to Halloween Cruise 2020. So @ Halloween Cruise 2020. And there'll be information there on how you can book that. But I mean, $800 for a week in the sun, all your meals and a bunch of drinks and soft drinks and stuff like that. You can't really go wrong, can you? I mean, you'd spend that in New Jersey for a weekend.
Easily, definitely.
So
excellent.
That's what we got coming up. Like I said, the events will be announcing in the next couple of weeks. If you go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Ghost Finders. You can also check out our website at theghostfinders.com. And thank you so much for having me on this fantastic show. You are the greatest. I love you all. I love this paranormal family. You're just the very, very best of people, and bless you all. And I hope your evening is just truly blessed.
Well, we are honored to have you on here. It's been a blast. I know there's probably a million more things we could talk about, so we'll look again down the road of having you guys back on. And so guys, go ahead and go out there, find Rob, find the Ghost Finders, give them a follow, and check out some of the new stuff. Check out the old stuff, and just get caught up on them. They're, obviously, you guys know I know Dan really well and follow him and support him ridiculously. So any friend of Dan's has got to be a good person. So I'm excited for you guys, and I can't wait to see what all you guys are putting out. And
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, guys. So coming up for me, this coming Friday on Shay's Paranormal Chat, we are going to have, and I apologize because I cannot remember the gal's name. I'll let Shay put it in chat. But we're going to have a gal on talking about vampire mythology. So that's our Friday show. 2 weeks from tonight, we are going to have Jamie Chad on as my guest. She is the organizer of the Haunticon Paracon that's coming up in Omaha, Nebraska in April. It is a huge event, super fun. So she'll be on. We'll be chatting about the event and some of the guests that she's got coming, the speakers, and all the fun activities that go along with that. And then, of course, starting in April is when I start ramping back up. So you'll get to hear about all my travels and shenanigans. And unfortunately, I'll start being on Shay's Paranormal Chat a little less, but that means you guys just have to make Shay behave because I won't be there. Somebody else. Ha, 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 ha. This won't be me. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening tonight. I hope you enjoyed. Rob, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will talk soon. Everybody have a great night. Bye.